Welcome to the first episode of the She Said, She Says podcast. My name is Pooja, and I am in the email marketing and CRM department for a leading luxury group in Southeast Asia. That is my 9 to 5. And on the side, I write for Newswave, and I also write a bit of poetry for myself and for anyone who feels that they understand what I feel like. So you can follow my Instagram page called Musings by Poo.
Hi guys, I'm Grace. I'm 32 years old this year, just 1 year older than Pooja. I work in communications for a clean energy company in Malaysia, and we are expanding globally, so I'm super excited. So on this side, I'm also the editor for Rolling Grace, which is a platform for all things travel and food around Asia. Right, so on our very first episode of She Said, She Says, we have a very interesting topic where we'll be shining a light on something that is not just very close to both our hearts, but we believe is very close to the hearts of many Malaysians as well. And the topic today is independence. So Pooja, tell me, what is independence? What does this term mean to you?
Grace, very interesting because, independence can be broken down to a few components. And I think if I were to pick out the main three components that we're both going to talk about today, it would be mental independence, physical independence, and emotional independence. If we were to go into the first one, which is mental independence. So mental independence is the ability to have your own thought processes, to make decisions by yourself, to not be influenced by what people say or what people think about you, and just in relation to just making decisions by yourself. So this is very important in today's day and age, because I feel that in a country like Malaysia, where we're a very collective country, right? We do everything in groups. We make decisions together. We take a lot of opportunities together without actually having a different mindset. I feel that being individual gives you the edge of being different from everyone else.
Can you probably give us an example of what mental independence will look like at the workplace?
So I think at the workplace, if I were to give a very easy scenario, if we were to have a project that involves many different people, definitely, you have a superior there, you have subordinates, and you want to deliver the project in a certain way. But at the same time, you also have people wanting to do things their way, right? But what if you do things differently? For example, if you think of a way to approach the project in a different manner compared to the rest of the group, will that make you feel shunned? Will they be like, oh, why is she doing this her way? Why is she doing it this way and not this way? So does that mean that your individuality comes in and that therefore you're different from the rest? And will the group project actually take on? If you ask me, I think that's a plus point, because again, we're all humans and we're different. There's 8 billion people in this world. We definitely don't have the same thought processes. We look at things differently, right? So situations like this definitely make us stand out. But we do have norms that we need to follow. We do have rule sets that we need to follow. And it's also good to not stray away too much from the norm. And I feel in cases like this, what if you're designing something, right? And you want to use that color. You just want that particular color. Let's say you love red, but they're like, no, we need to use neutral colors and stuff like that. If you're the only one, then you're going to be shunned. But if you have other people also wanting to use red, then it's a collective thing, and everyone's going to be like, okay, it's a group project and we all have the same thought processes. So I feel that it's very subjective in things like this. But again, it's very important to have mental independence, especially in cases like this. Yeah.
So
to make you pop up.
Right. Yeah. But you're right. You gotta, applying independence in a group setting is much trickier. Definitely you have to take into consideration someone else's decisions, feelings. So navigating that is definitely a skill I think we all should have. So for me, mental independence look like this. So I would say that, couple of years ago, I'm very bothered by what other people would think of me, how they perceive me and how I should act in accordance to what they think. But right now, just freeing myself from that restraining thoughts, I felt like I'm able to do so much more. So I remember a couple of years ago, maybe I was a little bit fatter, and then people say very mean stuff to me, and I was very bothered by it. But I realized that they are thinking, obviously this goes without saying, they are thinking don't affect my life, and I know myself better and how I want to design my life. Being able to live my life without the influence of someone else's perception is really freeing. So much more freeing now that I'm in my 30s, where no one else has any impact in my life but myself.
Yeah.
So I feel like mental independence definitely is very important. So thank you for breaking that down for us.
Yeah.
I believe you said you have read something this morning that was very impactful to you.
Yeah. I read this quote by this, not a quote actually. I listened to this podcast by this psychologist named Dr. Monica Johnson, which says that independence is a result of trauma. So, when I heard that, I wasn't really sure what she was talking about. But when I thought about it, it's actually very true. Independence is actually a result of trauma. By not, it's not just something that was done overnight or in a year. It's actually years and years of trauma.
Yeah.
When you look at it, it's very relevant. It's probably a lot of things in your childhood that you were never really aware about. For example, like simple things like you want something, but you're unable to get it at that set time and place. So you end up finding ways, or you go out of your way to do it, right?
Yeah.
To a point where it reaches your adulthood and you think this is normal, but it's not.
Yeah.
So that is why independence has brought about a lot of cases like this. And it's very hard to undo it, but it's very essential that we do, so that it doesn't feel that, it's always a burden. You feel that you need to do things a certain way, a certain time, certain place, just because no one is there to help you. It can lead you to having your own thought processes. And that's why we're speaking about mental independence.
I think that brings us to our next point, which is physical independence. Definitely related, but still a huge category of its own. So, Pooja, do you mind telling us, what does physical independence mean to you?
So, Grace, basically physical independence is the ability to do things without the help of others. And when I mean without the help of others, is simple things like, going to get groceries. If you drive to work, you don't rely on your partner to drop you off at work, although you stay in the same house and, you actually want your partner to drop you off to work.
It feels good.
It feels good, yeah. But you don't have that ability, or your partner can't do that, right? So you take yourself to work by yourself, whether it's through public transport or by driving, but that is physical independence. So you self-rely. You don't rely on anyone to do things for you. Even like I said earlier, picking up groceries or picking up a friend, for example. Very very individual, very independent.
And I think that's something that we can observe in a lot of people around us these days, especially women our age, right? They just sort of prefer not to rely on someone else, either because of convenience, or they just feel like, oh, I'm self-sufficient, I don't need help. And that really describes how we are, I believe personally, both of us, because we both have our own place, we both have our own house, we fix our own light bulbs, our own punctured tires. We don't need anyone else to help us. But like you rightly said, it will be nice to have that, that person that we can rely on. But we simply don't have them. So for people who do not have the access to that help, they have to sort of develop this physical independence, right? What would you say physical independence mean to somebody who is perhaps married in Malaysia?
So if you're a married couple, you live in the same house, right? And physical independence for a married household is for you to do things, again, without your partner's help. Simple things like washing the dishes, right? If today is dishwashing day and you probably want to fight about it, but you can't because your partner's not going to do it, eventually you're going to do it, right? So that is a form of physical independence. And then if you're going to go to situations where you're not able to groceries with your partner or
You seem to love your groceries, Pooja. Go on.
yes, I love grocery shopping. Thank you. I do. It's fun actually, going aisle by aisle,
It's the
picking up
best.
stuff. Yeah.
Touch everything.
Okay. So if I were to grocery shopping and then you have, okay, what if you're in the airport and your useless other half can't pick you up?
I'm gonna break up with that person. But hey, we have Grab, right?
Yeah.
And it's so much easier than
Yeah.
waiting for someone, I think.
You're at the airport and, your partner can't pick you up. So eventually you take a Grab, right? And of course, when you go home, you may want to fight it out or something.
100%.
Like, why didn't you pick me up from the airport? But that's what it is, right? So these are some cases of physical independence. And I think I want to go into something that the both of us are very passionate about, which is traveling.
Oh my God, yeah.
And, I think before I met you, I don't know of any other person who actually solo travels and talks about it very openly, because I think solo traveling is something that is not very common here in Malaysia, especially among girls, among women.
For sure.
And for me, solo travel is very important because I can do it at my own pace, my own time. I don't have to rely on anyone, because what if I want to do it at a certain month or a certain time and I can't get the other person to travel with me because our schedules are definitely different, in corporate and stuff like that. So that's when I take the decision to buy my ticket and to travel myself. I've been to about 10 countries now, 3 of which I've done solo traveling. And to be very honest, it's been actually very nice. Like I'm able to do things at my own pace and, see things at my own pace. And I feel that it has made me very independent in terms of going back to, mentally it has made me very independent. I have my own thought processes by just looking at things in a different country, just looking at how people live. And it can get very lonely at times, solo traveling. It really can. I'm sure you can relate to this.
That is why you need dating apps.
But, in cases like this, I feel that eventually you grow onto it and you learn to love yourself and you learn to be your own person.
Yeah.
So that's very important. That is a form of physical independence to me. So tell me about your solo travels, Grace.
I do agree with most of the things you've just said. Traveling in particular has actually made me who I am today. I enjoy doing things alone so much because I learned that from my travel. You don't have to depend on anyone else to make any decision. You can, like you said, go whenever you want, go wherever you want, do whatever you want. It's just so liberating. It's just the best form of independence a woman can ask for, I feel. Especially being an Asian woman where, like you said, solo traveling wasn't a thing back then. I started about 8 to 10 years ago. I was so young. So many things happened to me I don't want to talk about, but those unfortunate events made me so much stronger. Yeah. And I just hope that, more people out there, especially Malaysian girls, can just try. The conversion rate is pretty bad now, I heard. But save up, just do it. Pick 3 countries a year, I would say, just go.
And I think if I were to add on to what you just said, some of the best countries, you can go to Vietnam. You can even start in Singapore. I mean...
No, I would...
3.5, but... Try it out.
Yeah.
Try it out. It's safe. Singapore is a very safe country, so you can try it out. I think even Vietnam is very welcoming towards
good. Super
women.
cheap as well.
It's cheap. They're welcoming. They're not pretentious or anything.
Yeah.
I think my first solo travel was probably in the UK in 2019.
That was your first solo travel?
Yeah.
Oh.
And you think that, first world country and things were nice, but you still have to be very worried and you have to be very careful when you walk at night, especially. I think pickpocketing and stuff like that is very common there. So you just have to... But, this goes to all the countries. You just have to be very careful.
Yeah, a lot of, I think, I don't want to say common sense, but common sense come into play.
Yeah.
The way you carry yourself especially. So I've personally been to more than 35 countries, most of them solo. And the best skill that I would recommend is to have vigilance, and don't flaunt yourself too much, just be super smart about who you talk to on the streets, and then I think you're good to go. I love that you brought up travel, but there's another thing that I want to talk about that I feel that you will have exciting answers to. So tell me, what does physical independence mean to you in your own house because you stay alone in a huge apartment. So what happens when you see a cockroach? What happens when you see a lizard? What happens when something breaks down? What do you do? Who do you call?
I call nobody but myself.
Exactly.
You see, unfortunately or fortunately, it's become a norm. Do things by yourself. You know, if you see your dishes, there for the last few days and you be like hoping that someone's just going to walk in and wash it for you, it's not going to happen, right? Eventually, you're the person who's going to wash it.
I'm sorry, you
That's
leave your
why.
dishes in the sink for 3 days.
Sometimes, but TMI, but sometimes. Okay, and then going back to your question about having lizards or cockroaches like that, I am not afraid of them actually. I've caught a few and I've just,
I'm so proud
it
of
out.
you.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
yeah. I mean, you have to do it. Who else are you going to rely on?
No, I would not do that.
Who else are you going to rely on, right? So you learn to do these things. I mean,
Yeah.
I was always scared of lizards in the past, but I think now it's coming to a point where it's getting better.
That's great. That's good to know.
When I see it, I just pick it up and I don't know, or I just spray something and throw it away, right?
Yeah.
So in a home setting, you make your own bed, you wash your own dishes, you wash your own clothes, right? So you're the only one in the house and you make it a point to do things by yourself without
Yeah.
relying on anyone. But when a person enters your life tomorrow, then it's shared responsibility. You still don't undo that. You don't undo the flow of things, but you just share your responsibilities, I feel. Yeah.
Yeah, that actually brings me to my next question. So, because we have been so independent for so long and we have a certain way of doing things, for example, we split our laundry into two, white and color, right? And then this new person that enters your life suddenly says, oh, I do my, laundry in one load. Will that bother you? Will that change the dynamics of the relationship? Because personally, I think it will bother me, but I want to hear what you have to say.
I think it will definitely bother me to a certain extent because I am OCD in a way. I want things to be done my way. So that's where I said, mental independence comes into picture, physical independence comes into picture. It will bring some form of dynamics into the relationship where you feel that you need to be a certain way, you need things done a certain way, right? I think the best way, and now we're going towards relationship counseling a bit, which is to talk it out.
And we're both single, the irony, oh my God.
Yeah, we just need to talk it out
Yeah.
and, feel that whatever said and done, I think conversations are the best. And if you feel that it's something that you can come to a middle ground to and be like, I want things done my way, you want things done your way, then it's good. But if it's not, then that's a problem. That's a red flag.
So I think we have already spoken about two forms of independence,
Yeah.
and we are going on to our third one, which according to you was actually one of the most important form of independence.
Yeah.
And that is emotional.
Yeah.
What does emotional independence mean to you?
So emotional independence to me, Grace, is the ability to have your own set of emotions without depending on someone. How you react to something. For example, if there was, a death in the house or a situation where it's very difficult to come out from, can be a broken family or divorce or something like that. How do you react to things like this, right? Is emotional independence. How do you see yourself reacting to things like this differently from other people? Are you going to cry? Are you going to sulk in the corner? Or are you going to take the opportunity to go to a therapist, make things better? That is emotional independence to me. So I've already given a few examples earlier. And if you were to be thrown in a situation where, you see something very disturbing in front of you, it's how you react to it. Are you going to scream like everyone else? Are you going to be like all the other people in the room, or are you going to be different? Are you going to stand out and, say that, why are they screaming? I can actually take it in a different way. I can actually probably be like, it's nothing. Just get up and just move on and carry on with life. So how you react to certain things at a certain place and time is emotional independence.
I see. So it's all about managing our own emotions. And
Yeah.
that is one thing that I personally struggle with a lot. I feel like I'm a crybaby. Like whenever something goes sour, I'll be like, what do I do? Who do I turn to? For people like me who's like clueless and helpless, in the emotional space, do you have any like specific tips that you would like to share?
I think we're all humans, right? At the end of the day, we definitely need someone to rely on, in situations where we can't share the burden just by ourselves. Like, for example, if there's a death in the house, if it's someone you're close to, like a grandparent or something like that, you don't just take it on to you and be like, I'm going to handle it myself. No, you definitely need someone to rely on. That doesn't make you unindependent or anything, but you have the emotions to share with someone, right? Similar, if it's a happy moment, let's say you got promoted at work, or you got a raise, or, you bought a new house, you definitely want to share it with someone, right? And when you share it with someone, you're definitely sharing a lot of your emotions with that person. You're sharing your soul actually with that person. But bear in mind that in situations of sadness, especially like you said, maybe you cry a lot, it's always good to have your own set of feelings in cases like this. So in my case, when I'm unable to channel my sadness anywhere, I write. Yeah. So I think a lot of my writings are very emotion based, and I enjoy doing so because I just channel it there when I don't have anyone to rely on. But when I do have someone to rely on, then I think the best method is to definitely talk it out. So I think in your case, it would be great if you can actually have someone to speak about it. And when you don't, since we're both single, and we don't have anyone to rely on that way, it's always good to, go into outdoor activities. Like for me, I think it's like jogging and just having the ability to do things by yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So just a quick recap of what you've said. If you are struggling emotionally, and if you're single and have no one else to turn to, there are different outlets that you can potentially explore. Yeah. We talk about seeking professional help from therapists. We talk about, indulging yourself in different forms of art, like Pooja does poetry, I do painting. We also have another outlet, which is the easiest, which is working out and exercising, which is definitely the best form of release. So yeah, I love that.
The three main independence that we were supposed to talk about, right? So we've got mental, physical, and also emotional, which brings me to a very important question for the both of us and also to our viewers here today. Can you undo your independence? Oof. Is that something doable? So can you undo years and years of trauma, being who you are? Like what you said, you are who you are because of, being independent and a trauma response. Can you undo those kind of stuff?
So the short answer is yes, and the long answer is. So if you asked me this question a couple of years ago, I would have said no, because I simply do not know how, or where do I even start, right? Because we're so fixated in our own ways of doing things. But now in my 30s, more than ever, I feel like I'm in my softest, most feminine stage, where I sort of open up the doors in my life to allow other people to come in and show me the different ways of doing things, for example. So it could be a friend, like you are a friend to me. It could be a colleague at work who's always there lending a shoulder for you to cry on, when things get tough. Or it could be a partner in life that, that is always there to support you through the hard times. So as independent as I think I am, I feel like having that form of support is so important. And when you allow those support to come into your life, that's when you can see that undoing independence is 100% possible.
Yeah, I gotta agree with that.
Yeah.
For you, I think Pooja? In my case, doing it is going to be a bit tough because I'm still not ready to, allow people to come into my life naturally. Like I'm very guarded by who's in my life. But having said that, it's there. It's slowly coming off. And I think if I were to do it, probably, I hope in the next year or so, that's my goal, is to actually have the ability to rely on someone. And again, it can be any of these three. I'm still going to have my own thinking, my own independent ways of doing things, but just the ability to rely on this person and be like, okay, I feel safe and I feel good and I want to rely on this person. And I don't want my other half to feel that, why is she not asking me for things, or why is she not getting help from me when she needs to. So I don't want to be a burden to that person. But again, it's also part of undoing independence, and it will take time. So I feel that for everyone out there who's also in a similar situation to both of us, I would say take your time.
Sure.
Take your time and be yourself, and the right person will probably understand that, you know, you need time to undo things like this.
Yeah, yeah. Of course, you know, we understand that different people have different trauma in the past, and the way they perceive things are different as well. So, you know, the pace would not be similar across, you know, everybody. So I think that's a very good thing that we brought up. Do not rush into things. You know, if you need longer time, I feel like just follow your own pace and see where that brings you. And that's beautiful. I love that. Thank you, Pooja.
Thank you, Grace. So we've come to the end of our podcast today. I hope you've liked it. And if you would like to hear us speak about different topics, don't hesitate to drop your comments and, you know, whatever you want us to speak
Slide
about.
into our DMs.
Yep. Oh, Grace, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's about it. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in.
Thank you. Salam sejahtera.
So, all right.